What's good, Silver Squad? I'm RJ.
And I'm Gerald. G saw that.
Welcome back to the Silver Site. Today we're going to be talking about and breaking down all things Welcome to Derry. Um, man, this was refreshing. This was, especially after Stranger Things, this was refreshing for me. As you all know, I'm scared of everything, and so I had to watch each episode in daylight. Did I Google who died? Did I Google? Oh, this is a spoiler review, by the way. But I absolutely did Google who died. I absolutely did look up the clips on TikTok so that way I knew it was coming before it came. But I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Um, I didn't do any lookups. I'm not afraid of anything, but I
Mhm.
definitely say this was definitely a very entertaining series from the standpoint of how they were able to really keep you locked in even without
Yeah,
Pennywise until later in the season. So I thought they built on the lore, um, being that this is happening pre it movies.
yeah,
So definitely very, very, very entertaining. Um, and again, this isn't just about Pennywise. This is
yeah.
about Derry itself and
Hmm.
how it basically, as a town, keeps letting the monster or the
Yeah.
entity win.
And it kind of makes you see that, like, so, all right, going back to like the movies, It 1 and 2. I really enjoy Welcome to Derry because there's always a before and learning what happened before we got to the point where we were introduced in the story, tying all of that in together and tying in, most of Stephen King's, work into like one universe. Because a lot of people didn't know, and I'm one of them. I didn't know that all of this stuff was connected and that they were in the
All
same.
sprinkled
I
in
had
there.
no idea, man. I had no idea.
Yeah. So as far as like direct, indirect, and all that stuff, I won't go into like big, huge details, but I can definitely tell you you've
Yeah,
heard different phrases and different iterations of these things. You might not have known what the reference was for, but I know they made it in Shawshank. They made it in Pet Cemetery. They made it in Castle Rock.
yeah,
Golly, all different types of characters have traveled through Derry, um, um, even like the references to The Shining, Doctor Sleep, The Mist. All of
yeah,
those things are intertwined into this show, and they did a really good blink if and you miss it
yeah.
throughout throughout these different episodes. So you were able to, if you didn't watch it twice, you probably missed it, and
I
it
missed
didn't
it.
even you know. So that's one of the things that you have to kind of understand. So going back, and he kind of came and said the origin because they say this is
Yeah,
thousands and thousands of years old, but
this is like
um,
time itself, kind of.
yeah, and they speak kind of to that in the finale about time, and basically it kind of does that whole circular,
Listen,
thing.
that form of that, the way that was written is
Hmm.
like is brilliant because it's almost like Pennywise exists like simultaneously
Hmm.
through like all points in time.
Yeah,
And one thing I will say about this show is the writing on it is phenomenal. Even giving little references to his previous work, they were never shoehorned in where it's like, oh, The Shining, oh, Shawshank. Like it was really just kind of like you said, it was a blink if you miss it. And I think that's kind of the best way to do that because it doesn't feel corny. Even the dialogue, the
I
way
think.
they talk to each other, just everything was organic. It felt like,
Yeah, I think Machete would. I think what he did was he paid homage without completely trying to rewrite the lore.
okay, yeah,
And so
yeah,
in doing so, he was able to go back to the work he did
mhm,
versus trying to go back and recreate the wheel.
yeah,
Because I think he has enough respect for Stephen King not to tarnish the work he did
his
in the book,
works, yeah,
because obviously TV and books are going to be two totally different mediums,
hmm,
and so he was able to give you the information or give you the stuff that he kind of put his stamp on in chapter two and all that stuff, but still be able to present, hey, what happened before we got here,
yeah,
even the original
yeah,
or the original for the
hmm,
reimagining.
yeah,
What happened then? How do we get what did that group of kids look like before the Losers Club? And so,
And two, I think I like what you just said about what did they look like before the Losers Club. One thing about that I hate about remakes or reboots or prequels and things like that is sometimes the universe feels completely different. It
mhm,
feels like they've forgotten, like they've let so much time go by that they've kind of forgotten their own tone. You know, there's
yeah,
always I didn't get it. There's going to always be a different way to film things from the 90s to now, whatever. But I feel like they did a good job of matching the tone, even though Pennywise is a lot scarier and a lot more creative now, seemingly, because we didn't have those when the first movie came out. We didn't have technology to pull off the things that he's doing now, obviously, like with the Demon Baby. But I think they do a really good job of kind of keeping the amount of fear for Pennywise like respectable. And that's just to me, that's a testament to the writing. Even the way the psychology that Pennywise uses, bro, like the rebirth, like that girl going through the birth canal, like seeing people's dead parents, the pickle jar. Like Pennywise is like king of mind games. It just I love it.
well, the reverse engineering piece of it, though,
That's
what
it.
he was able to do was, if you think about it,
Mm.
Pennywise actually did get more diabolical later. We just only saw
Yeah,
what he was in the previous films.
yeah,
This was actually his, like him, like test run.
yeah,
But being in Derry like that shows you how Derry itself is, like, in theory, like the real villain because of all the elements that are going on.
mm,
Pennywise itself is just a symptom,
yeah,
because if you think about it, they were looking for it.
yeah.
The military was looking
Dude,
for it.
dude,
So if you think about it from that standpoint, this is before we get any of the imagery of what we got from part one and part two.
yeah,
Pennywise was all the way manifested in what he was trying to accomplish. He was just trying to find the right victims, if you
yeah.
will.
It's almost like if they chilled out, like they'd be fine. But
Right.
he's feeding them fear, you know,
Hmm.
especially now that you have the black people in that town that have to deal with the racism and the fear of, you know,
Hmm.
being falsely accused and everything else. And so what ends up happening is the Derry is basically feeding Pennywise in a sense.
Yeah. Because so okay, so you take the indigenous aspect and you take how they were
Mhm.
able to corral them and
Yeah,
trap
yeah,
them, right?
yeah,
um, they trapped them due to their beliefs and how he would spread, but they put the parameters on him. But
yeah,
guess who didn't? The townspeople.
yeah,
The townspeople knew something was there. The townspeople know something's there, but
yeah,
they chose not to believe it from the standpoint of how the indigenous framed it, and then they chose to keep ignoring or influencing it in a way that just cultivated their living, how they
mhm,
live. Well, you know, we are, of course, obviously they don't use racism itself,
yeah,
the name, the
yeah,
word, but they're going to be, we're who we are. We just do what we do.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
they allow that part to continue to just let it bubble up and swell. Then the military on the flip side is like, hey, we know it's something
yeah.
that causes people to do this, that, or the other.
Mhm.
If we get it, we can weaponize it and we can control it. And by the way, we also found somebody that can help us find it. And he just so happened to have that color skin.
They were
But
pissing me
so
off.
what? So
The
what?
mil-
Right.
the military was annoying, bro. Like
Yeah.
every scene they were making me hot. It's like y'all don't listen to anything. Y'all don't respect people's cultures and their beliefs and things like that. And you end up getting people killed. So
Mhm.
trigger happy. Like they don't listen to nothing. Like every scene they were pissing me off, bro.
Yeah. And even still, and then the circles themselves got smaller because then you go to the groups of the way the kids were, like, in their own little groups and their little factions, where you
Yeah,
had the little prissy girls and the little,
yeah,
you had the ones that were deemed nerds, you were all the outcasts and things like that.
yeah,
So how you get to the the mishmash of kids all being
yeah,
like, you got the little smart kid, who happens to be black, who's is a loner, who believes in his own, things that his family's taught him,
yeah,
because he got it honest. But then
Mm.
you got, somebody like, what was his name? Rich.
Rich, yeah,
Like this kid, he's a dreamer, but at the
yeah,
same time,
yeah,
he's in his own lane,
yeah,
and then as you kind of go through each character, as they start to form their bonds in whatever way they form them, because you see them through adversity, you see them through their character growth is based on who they are at their
yeah.
core.
Hmm.
And then you get to see all those outside influences, because if you think about it, you got to see really golly, what's my man's name, the little black kid, how you get to see his
Well,
upbringing through his mom and his dad.
yeah,
Really, you get that through their lens, because mom is an activist.
yeah.
She's not
She
gonna let, she walked in like,
and goes down. Yeah,
yeah, this not gonna work. And I think that how these kids, but as they started trusting each other in how they were understanding that they were all having the same issues
and one
as
thing
they
I'll say
became
about
adults.
these kids, I gotta give it to. I'll talk about the acting in a minute, but
Uh-huh.
the way the kids were written, like that's a squad. Like
Yeah.
that's a squad right there. I believed in the friendships. I believe they genuinely cared about each other, and
Mhm.
they, although they were scared, they was about it. Like we
Because
going
they
to,
knew they had a plan. They had a
yeah,
mission. They had
they
a
had a
mission. Well, they actually had a mission. But they
yeah,
sometimes they went in, their
no,
plans were
yeah,
terrible.
like that going into sewer
Mission.
was freaking, that was dumb. I was with her on that one. Like, why would we go in the sewer? Like, then what irritated me, like this kid comes back mad pale, like he looks dead. Yeah, let's follow him down to the sewer. Like,
Mhm.
listen, black women. That's all. Like,
So the
you,
the reality is, so I if I want to frame it, I would take the pilot episode and I would put it in its own lane. But the pilot episode was really a metaphor for the whole season,
yeah,
because
yeah.
the pilot episode told you all bets are off.
The
Anybody
stakes,
can get it.
bro. The
Anybody can get
stakes
it.
are high.
And think about it. What series or movie have we ever seen where kids just get off like it's nothing?
It does not. Aside from the Hunger Games, where we know they're gonna
And
die,
that don't
don't
count.
count. But
We
no,
know the name of
you're
that
right
game,
though.
right?
You're right. We obviously don't want children to die, but it's like in a situation like this, there's no way where everybody's gonna make it out alive. Hint, hint. People should die, whether they're beloved characters or not. You listen. When I watched that first episode, you could not tell me that they were gonna experience something scary, and then like that group of kids was gonna go on to kind of figure it out. When those three kids died, like
Right.
the first
Eh,
episode, I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, this is what this show is gonna be."
Yeah. My man thought he was running away. And then he's like, wait a minute. I thought we were leaving. But they said, no, my brother.
Listen, get over here, like, hey,
Right.
no joke,
So
man.
and I don't know what Muschetti, I don't know what his
Mhm.
fixation with the birth canal is, but
I
it
don't know
was
either.
whew, that
Yeah,
was
that. So let me ask you this: what was the scariest scene to you?
so mine, from a practical standpoint, I'll be honest, the scariest thing for me was when the golly, what was dude's name, when he was down there with his buddy and they were in the sewer.
Oh, just before he shot old boy.
Yes. And the
Okay.
reason why is because they had already painted the whole picture of Pennywise
Yeah,
coming back. Because when he changed over and he like unzipped kid's head from he's going around, I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
listen, I was intrigued and I was terrified at the same time. Like, yo,
yeah,
first off, do not, does anybody not see bro's head unzipping?
yeah,
Like when he kept going in circles and I kept saying, hey, hey,
yeah.
hey,
Like, wait a
do
minute,
y'all
wait a
not
minute.
right?
Yeah,
So that part was crazy, but then I think just the realization of the father possibly killing his own kid,
yeah. That
I
was
think
fun.
just did it. I mean, as a dad, that
Yeah,
would be like a nightmare to know that my kid might not be my kid, or
yeah,
whatever that, however
yeah,
that played. That was a hard one, and then I would probably say the second one hardest part, or more terrifying. Anything that could happen in real life, like
No.
with the fire, with
Okay,
the
yeah,
with the,
that's
with the black
terrifying.
spot
Yeah.
fire.
For
That
me,
was, yeah.
I don't know.
I
Okay,
think
for
that's when
me,
Pennywise was his biggest bag whenever those two things happen.
yeah.
Because the fire, if you think about it, he had already foreshadowed the fire when the kid was looking in the water.
Oh shoot, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
I want to say when I think he and the dad were. I don't remember if him and the dad were fishing, and the kid looked down the water, and he said something like, "This is gonna be you," or this something to that
Yeah,
effect. Because it made me think of it. That's what I
yeah.
thought they were referencing, and they weren't. They were actually referencing what was
The
going to happen in the
yeah,
black spot later, which come to find out that's what it was. Because you
yeah.
remember, I don't know if you remember, but they had the fire in the meat packing place
Okay,
too
yeah, yeah. I
in
remember
it.
that.
So that's where I thought that was coming from. But the fact that he manifests like hard during the black
There's
spot
a
fire.
lot of red herrings, and I think that's also important to kind of keep people on their toes. It's like you think something is one thing, but it's really not. So what this show does a good job of, in my opinion, is kind of misdirecting you, so that way you
Hmm.
kind of think what's going to happen. Like you kind of look up characters and see their last name. Oh, they survived until this point, and then it's like it's not what you think it is. The show
Yeah.
does an excellent job of that, and so I feel like that's one thing that this show does good. And once we got from the first episode was it kind of keeps you on your toes, even though you think
Hmm.
you're standing 10 toes down, you're really not.
Yeah. So what shook you the most?
Shit, everything. Yeah, I know I'm scared of everything, but
Right.
and like for what I have to say, just based off the initial shock, the movie theater scene
Okay.
got me because it was the first like scary. Well, aside from the car ride, but the movie was probably the where I was like, oh shoot, this is a whole nother level. This takes it too high. The second thing that got me was the cemetery. I hate
Oh,
cemeteries,
okay.
I hate graves, and I hate like not being able to see, and I hate when characters get separated. And so for me, that's what kind of scared me. And they kept
Yeah.
dropping that damn camera, which was pissing me off. Like it has a strap for a reason, people. Like it just made me so mad, bro. Like they kept dropping it. Then it's in the tree. Yeah. It irritated me, but that scared me. And then when he was in the tomb, and the little thing ran behind him,
Hmm.
like I was like, oh shit, and then when the hand was on the wall, and yeah, no, and then when they developed the picture, everything scared me,
Yeah.
everything.
I think they did a really good job, like you said, like kind of keeping us off balance,
Yeah,
um, but in a good way. It was like watching somebody paint a painting, and you don't know what the ending's gonna look like,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
do. And so they keep saying, okay, you keep looking over here while my right hand is doing this, but you didn't
Yeah,
realize I had already done
it's
all this
over
other stuff on the
here.
left side. So how they were able to kind of subvert our expectations, I, I thought they did a really good job because the story was layered in a way to where
Super layered.
even if you thought you figured out something, you didn't realize that you had already missed. Because prime example was, golly, what was again, these names, it's a lot. Um, the little girl clown. When you find out
Oh
that
yeah,
that Pennywise just took somebody's form. That's
yeah,
all.
and that's
Because
all.
remember, that was kind of the one thing that kind of, I do this so that I don't get myself so caught up in a couple things, and or getting caught up in just the lore. Pennywise the clown was just a vessel,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like he ain't always a clown. That's
He's
that's
not
what
a
people
clown.
kind of
Yeah,
miss. And it's
yeah,
like, yeah, that's how people have completely locked in the imagery of. But
yeah.
remember, Pennywise takes whatever form, or I would say
He
Pennywise, the
manifests and whatever he
entity,
wants to manifest. He's
right?
an
The
angel.
entity takes the form of whatever scares you the most.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I thought was very interesting, that they even created a whole side story where this little girl has spent all this time, or now she's a grown woman, spent all this
Yeah.
time trying to find her father.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she ended up really causing a whole nother catastrophe because she thought she was doing stuff to bring her dad back.
And she was not. And
Was
she was
not
not.
helpful to
Yeah.
anybody,
But
including.
that's what the show is so strong at, man. It was like they pull you in and then like hit you with a right hook, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and what a mark of a good show also is what you do after you watch it. Like, do you research? Do you look stuff up? Do you look for symbolism? And I think that this show did a good job of kind of burying little nuggets for people to
hmm
find. I don't like calling them Easter eggs, more so as like nuggets because you have to kind of work. And this is a cerebral show in a sense. You have to really work to understand what's going on this show, and that's why I feel like it's one of the, for me, even though it's at the end of the year, this is one of the best shows of 2025 for me. Which we'll
agreed.
probably do that video pretty soon. So yeah, make sure you
Yeah,
tune in.
I
Um,
mean,
yeah,
it's interesting to watch a show that's it's a slow burn, but
yeah,
still super heavy every episode. Because I remember early on watching reviews and just listening to other people's commentary, how they were just whining and complaining that when they're going to show Pennywise, when they're going to show
yeah.
Pennywise, and I'm just like, who cares?
At this
Like
point,
the
the
show
show is
is
gold. Yeah,
good,
like hey, we
the
don't need
show
to
is
see that.
good,
Yeah,
like, but it's like their brain is stuck on Pennywise the clown
yeah.
as opposed to the entity that's continuously haunting everybody. They were
It's
giving you the crazy eyes, they were giving you
yeah,
the buck teeth, they were giving
yeah,
you imagery, but they weren't giving you here's the clown, here's the
yeah.
clown, here's the
That's
clown.
what they want. It's just sort of like you got Ronald McDonald. Like, why are you looking for the Hamburglar? Like,
Right.
we're good in the town as far as like we're getting a good story. We're getting scared left and right. We're getting demons and everything else, but you want the clown, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So for me, I can live with it. I know there was a lot of heavy atmosphere. There's a lot of things that were going on that to where you saw that it was serious. Did they try to throw a joke in there every so often? Yeah. Did those jokes ever really break the tension? No.
And that's a sign of good writing when
Right.
when the jokes don't like take away from the tension of the moment, you know. And I think that was
Right.
done deliberately. I don't think they meant for the joke to break the tension. The joke was probably thrown in there just to throw it in there,
Mhm.
but thrown in there to not like mess it up, the
Yeah.
tone, whatever.
Even
Brilliant
even
writing.
Pennywise was cracking jokes while
Yeah,
he was seasoning up people eating them. So
yeah. But
he had.
it didn't take you out of it where you're like, oh, Pennywise is so like, and
Mhm.
that's what probably is really enjoyable um about this show. Yeah, and please, creators and writers and directors and producers, do not take 2 more years to come out with a season two. We don't want to wait. Like, don't do that.
Well,
You got a
so
year.
my biggest thing with that is I'm not like I'm gonna temper my expectations. If because I could feel if they go in a totally different direction, again, I am 100% the guy that's okay with ambiguous
Yeah,
changes because we already know where the series, show, whatever, we know where it
yeah,
is. So you really either gonna go back or you're gonna go tangent.
yeah,
So if you're gonna go back in a way that makes sense. But if you're gonna go tangent, go in the direction that makes sense.
yeah,
Everything doesn't have to have a connection. However,
yeah,
you've already kind of set the framework to go whatever direction you want to go. You want to still follow. You know who's still alive at a certain point in time, and you
yeah,
know that certain characters are still alive at a certain point in time because
yeah,
you don't get this movie, that movie, this series, that
yeah,
series without this character. So
yeah,
you haven't killed off certain people yet, or you haven't met those people yet
yeah,
if you go
yeah,
further back.
yeah.
Are we gonna stay in the 60s? We're gonna go to the 30s. Are we gonna go to before that?
We're gonna
Or
go to
whatever.
before civilization.
Hmm.
What are we gonna do? But I think it leaves this kind of series in that time gap, and being that he's almost ancient, well, he is ancient and cosmic. It leaves so much more to be desired as far as like the fans. Like we want more, but
Yeah.
I feel like season one was enough. I'm satisfied overall. Overall, I am super satisfied with what we got. I think that we got a good story. I think that we got great cinematography. We got phenomenal child actors.
Hmm.
Did an excellent job at on this show. So I'm satisfied. I have to give this season a solid 9.
Yeah. And I could concur on that.
Yeah,
9 is solid. Um, Room to grow is a relative term because I feel like whatever direction they decide to go in
yeah,
another season is going to be fine. But just understanding that the elements, the characters, and all that stuff, the story beats that we were able to see, I was satisfied with them because um, it gives us as watchers the ability to look at the
yeah,
town itself and say, y'all acting like y'all won something when the reality is y'all don't even understand what y'all were fighting.
yeah.
Y'all still don't understand it. So I think Derry itself is going to continue to be the cesspool that it is.
Feeding
I mean,
ground.
we know because we know the type of people that still move around and interact a certain way in Derry. So we know that
Yeah,
again, as long as they're there, they're going to keep forgetting. I mean, as long as they're there, they're going to just keep living how they live or whatever. Because they say the further you get away is the more you forget.
boy,
So,
yeah, yeah,
they know something. They know
yeah,
something. They just are going to continue to, I guess, just be complicit in it.
yeah. At this point, that's all. Yeah, that's left.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so I think this was pleasurable. This wasn't a chore to watch. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing more. Let us know down below in the comment section what you thought about Welcome to Derry. What moments were your favorite? What would you like to see in season 2? Do you want a prequel to the prequel, or do you want them to kind of continue the story where we left off at? With that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Later days.